Ignore my hair. Ignore it. All right. So today is the anniversary of Justice. We got that out of the way. But today's also the anniversary of when the first Evil Dead movie came out. Now, technically, let's get technical here. This isn't the first Evil Dead movie because Evil Dead originated from a short film called Within the Woods, which is more of like a concept short film of Evil Dead. And aren't you thinking, Amy, is this a review of Evil Dead? No, because that's going to be in the movie review. I decided we're going to go over the production of Evil Dead and then the release of Evil Dead, theatrical and stuff like that. And the reception as well, because. So, Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell grew up together and had been best friends from an early age. The duo made several low-budget Super 8mm film projects together. Several were comedies including Clockwork and It's Murder. Shooting a suspense scene in It's Murder inspired them to approach careers in the horror genre. After researching horror cinema at drive-in theaters, Raimi was set on directing a horror film, opting to shoot a proof-of-concept short film. Hence, Within the Woods, described by the director as a prototype that would attract the interest of financiers and use the funds raised to shoot a full-length project. The short film, as I said before, was Within the Woods, which was produced for $1,600. For The Evil Dead, Raimi required over $100,000. I mean, if you watch the movie, you could see why. To generate funds to produce the film, Raimi approached Phil Gillis, a lawyer to one of his friends. Raimi showed him Within the Woods, and although Gillis was not impressed by the short film, he offered Raimi legal and I can't pronounce Sam Raimi's own name on how to produce The Evil Dead. With this advice in mind, Raimi asked a variety of people for donations and even eventually begged some. Probably got down on his hands and knees. He was like, "Please," he's like, "Please." Bruce even had to ask several of his own family members, and Raimi asked every individual he thought might be interested. He eventually raised enough money to produce a full-length film, though not the full amount he originally wanted. Raimi said the film cost $375,000. With enough money to produce the film, Raimi and Campbell set out to make what was then titled Book of the Dead, a name inspired by Raimi's interest in the fiction of H.P. Lovecraft. The film was supposed to be a remake of Within the Woods, with higher production values and a full-length running time. Raimi turned 20 just before shooting began, and he considered the project his rite of passage. As for the whole considering it to be a remake, Sam Raimi did say that Evil Dead 2 counts as a remake of the first Evil Dead movie, so it's a remake and a remake and a remake? Oh, that hurts my head. Now we're gonna get into the pre-production and casting, and then we're gonna get into the promotion and distribution rights before getting into the release and the reception, and even the aftermath. Cause, again, bro, I know I said something else in the beginning of the video, but like, come on now. I tied my hair. That's not important. Let's get on to pre-production and casting, cause, yeah. So, Sam Raimi asked for help and assistance from several of his friends and past collaborators to make The Evil Dead. Bruce Campbell offered to produce the film alongside Taybert, and was he was cast as Ash. Okay, I can't fucking read. Ignore that. He was cast as Ash because his producing responsibilities made him the only actor willing to stay during the production's entirety. To acquire more actors for the project, Raimi put an ad into the Detroit News. Betsy Baker was one of the actresses who responded, and Ellen Sandwich, who appeared in Within the Woods, was also cast. The crew consisted almost entirely of Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell's friends and family. The special effects makeup artist for Within the Woods, Tom Sullivan, was brought on to compose the effects after expressing a positive reaction to working with Raimi. He helped create many of the film's foam, latex, and fake blood effects, and added coffee as an extra ingredient to the traditional fake blood formula of corn syrup and food coloring. Without any formal assistance from location scouts, the cast had to find filming locations of their own. The crew initially attempted to shoot the film in Raimi's hometown of Royal Oak, Michigan, but instead chose Morristown, Tennessee, as it was the only state that expressed enthusiasm for the project. The crew quickly found a remote cabin located several miles away from any other buildings. During pre-production, the 13 crew members had to stay in the cabin, leading to several people sleeping in the same room. The living conditions were notoriously difficult, with several arguments breaking out between crew members. Steve Frankel was the only carpenter on set, which made him the art direction's sole contributor. For exterior shots, Frankie had to produce several elaborate props with a circular saw. Otherwise, the cabin mostly remained the way it was found during production. The cabin had no plumbing. I don't know why the camera keeps moving. I didn't even realize. Sorry. The cabin had no plumbing, but phone lines were connected to it. Oh, yeah. Thank God for that. No toilet, but the phone worked. Now we're on to the promotion. And I don't think I want to go any farther than what I'm looking at right now. So I'm just going to read half of this and then move on to the release. And then reception. And then the aftermath. And I think that's it from there. With the film completed, Sam Raimi and the crew decided to celebrate with a big premiere. They chose to screen the film at Detroit's Redford Theater, which Bruce Campbell had often visited as a child. Raimi opted to have the most theatrical premiere possible, using custom tickets and wind tracks set in the theater, and ordering ambulances outside the theater to build atmosphere. The fuck? The premiere setup was inspired by horror director William Castle, who would often attempt to scare his audiences by using gimmicks. Local turnout for the premiere exceeded the cast's expectations, with 1,000 patrons showing up. The audience responded enthusiastically to the premiere, which led to Raimi's idea of touring the film to build hype. Hey, that's good stuff, Sam. Sam Raimi showed the film to anyone willing to watch it, booking meetings with distributing agents and anyone with experience in the film industry. Eventually, Raimi came across Irving Shapiro, the man who was responsible for the distribution of George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead and other famous horror films. Upon first viewing the film, he joked that while it wasn't Gone with the Wind, it had commercial potential, and he expressed an interest in distributing it. It was his idea not to use the then titled Book of the Dead because he thought it made the film sound boring. Raimi brainstormed several ideas, eventually going with The Evil Dead, deemed the least worst title ever. Shapiro also advised distributing the film worldwide to garner a larger income, though it required a further financial investment by Raimi, who managed to scrape together what little money he had. And good for you, Sam. Good for you, bro. Alright, I don't want to make the video too long, so I'm just going to say that the film was and is still banned theatrically or on video in some countries. Why I all got beef against my man Bruce Campbell, alright? Let's move on to the aftermath. I'm done with this video already. I wanna just move on to the aftermath. I'm done with the reception. I'm not doing that. Okay, I'm not doing that. I'm doing the aftermath instead. Alright, we're not gonna talk about the sequels, but we will talk about the legacies. Why did I make that face? Why did I make that face? While The Evil Dead received favorable critical comment when it was initially released, it failed to establish Sam Raimi's reputation. It was, however, a box office success, which led to Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi teaming up again for the release of another movie. Joel Cohen and his brother Ethan had collaborated as directors and released the film Blood Simple to critical acclaim. According to Bruce Campbell, Ethan, then an accountant, expressed surprise when the duo succeeded. The Coen brothers and Raimi collaborated on a screenplay, which was released shortly after The Evil Dead. The film, Crime Wave, was a box office failure. The film production was a disaster, according to Bruce, who stated that the missteps like Crime Wave usually lead to the end of a director's career. Other people involved with the film expressed similar disappointments with the project. Fortunately, Sam Raimi had the studio support to make the sequel to Evil Dead, which he initially decided to make out of desperation. Well, kind of a good thing he did, though, then. Oh my god. The legacy is too long. Holy shit. Oh, wait. Oh, shit. I gotta read this. Hold on. Never mind. I gotta read this. Okay. Y'all need to hear this. Alright? I have to read this. After the film was released, many people began to trespass onto the filming location in Morristown. In 1982, the cabin was burned down by drunken trespassers, and although the cabin is now gone, the chimney remains, which many people now take stones from when they trespass onto the location. What the fuck? Also, Ice Nine Kills released a song in 2021 called Ex Mortis on their album The Silver Scream, Welcome to Horrorwood, which is composed of songs each explicitly linked to specific horror media per the album's booklet of linear notes. Ex Mortis is stated to be inspired by The Evil Dead. Holy shit! What the fuck?